Right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another Fast Break Points, the show where we talk about random topics from sport, movies, music, or whatever. My name is Cams, and I'm here with my special guest, Willie Lio, all the way from Perth, Western Australia. What's up, brother?
Hey, Uso. Thanks for the invite, and look forward to having been a while since we've had a chat, man. So looking forward.
Hey, how's it over there with the lockdowns and stuff over in Perth? How you guys?
With the lockdown, we've been good. To be honest, bro. In the last lockdown we had was a 5-day lockdown, and then once it was just we ended up everything was cleared. The guy that caught the virus, he was cleared. So then and there was no other cases. So it went from it was just a 5-day or so. All good. Everybody's back to normal. The schools are back to normal, but you see a lot more people wearing masks still. So there's still a lot of caution. So it's come from, I remember 10 years ago when everybody was looking at people wearing masks funny to now being just the norm, eh?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So anyway, we're here tonight to talk about your local rugby team, the Western Force. Now they're back in the Super Rugby, which you're probably excited about. You can watch your local team play the Super Rugby again. They had their first win last night over the disappointing Waratahs. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on your thoughts on your adopted team and them coming back into the Super Rugby.
Yeah, I think you put that right word there. Also, it was pretty much my adopted team. It has been like I think they've sort of got dealt a pretty harsh card, being cut out of the Super Rugby comp there. So it was pretty tough. I think it was bit of a hard pill to swallow for a lot of the fans here. They were pretty bad. But to see them back involved in the Super Rugby is probably it's good for the community here. I mean, I'm quite involved with the community rugby a fair bit here. More so with the a few years ago was probably with their academy teams and their little state teams, but the club rugby is probably where it's at, and I think for them it's really good. And now that I can get back and watch a bit of how they play, and they've actually changed of how they played from say a few or 3 years ago. To be honest, so they're a lot better now, I think, as a team than what they were, say, 4 years or 5 years ago. I'm pretty stoked actually, to be honest, to see a bit of a team from the WA region anyway, mix it with the rest of Australia.
Yeah, but because when they left the competition due to the restructuring of the Super Rugby comp, even me, I haven't seen them since then. So what have they been up to? What sort of competition were they in previously?
Yeah, so then when they had their break from Super Rugby, they formed pretty much their own competition. To be honest, so they had one of them probably one of Australia's biggest mining companies, third biggest mining company in Australia, which pretty much bankrolled the team and set up a whole new competition where it involved the teams from Asia. So you had team from China, mixed team, a team from out of Singapore, Malaysia. Then you had the Fijians, and then you had the Kangifa Samoa team. So, and that was all funded. That was all funded through from, say, Andrew Forrest, the CEO or the former CEO of that mining company, FMG. So, and they also, it was 2 years they had that competition going, and I think that was when I look back now, that was probably a good thing for them, because it actually built them as a team, and it sort of kept them still playing competitive rugby, even though it wasn't to the standards of what Super Rugby and what the New Zealand teams can bring to the table. I still felt that it was a good enough competition for them to be competitive and to keep them at that edge where they need to be. So, when they played against the Brumbies last week, although they they lost, and it was probably the scoreline probably didn't reflect how they played. I'd say, I mean, it's not easy coming in from playing that competition that they had to playing the best teams in Australia and going up against the best players who have some really class players around them. You look at the Brumbies they played last week. They've got internationals right across the board, man. So no, it was good. It was really good. Their competition was good. What they tried to do was really good for the people here, anyway, in Western Australia, just to keep that pathway going through.
Yep.
They're able to run their academies and their pathways. So then at least there's something for them those kids to look forward to.
Yeah, man. So it's 2021 now, and they're in the Super Rugby Australia competition. Hopefully we'll get the Trans-Tasman comp going after this. So the Mighty Blues get to face the Western Force later on in the year. But the team this year, it's when I look at the makeup of the team, there's a lot of international players playing. You got a few of the Argentinian guys coming into the team. Taking those spots because obviously the Hagiriras aren't playing. You got a couple of Kiwis in there. Richard Kaui's in there. Particularly the Pacific Island players in the team. Can you just comment on like who to watch out for and who have you got your eye on?
Yeah, I agree with you. Like they do have a good mixture of players in there, and I think that's probably what makes a good rugby team. Also, is me personally, is that when you have a mixture of different cultures, so that brings that's a good recipe for a very good team. I mean, you only have to look at say the All Blacks and all the successful teams like the Crusaders. They're different backgrounds. I mean, might be from New Zealand but different backgrounds and different cultures. So that hopefully from there they can create a good team. With a couple of the PI boys that I've seen in there, like Henry Tafel, who was one of the shining lights from the Samoan Manu team that went to the World Cup. He stood up in that World Cup for Samoa. He did some good things, so he'll be one probably from the Force perspective. I mean, it's kind of hard when you've got Richard Kahui there, who's a World Cup winner with the All Blacks, and maybe hopefully them two can form a good combination. Who knows? I'd like to see that. They did have a very good number 8. He was huge. He was straight from Samoa. Stowers was the surname, but I don't see that see his name in there in the mix. And that, so he's probably one that could have been worth a look at. And there's that the hooker, and he played some really good minutes in the game on last night or yesterday for the Force. Added his to what he added to that forward pack. So they've got a really good forward pack, I think, because they've got one of the ex-Waratahs prop in there, and then you've got like you said, the Argentinian I think players that have come into the mix, and I think it's great for them to there. And then you add in a few of the local mix, a few of the local boys. I mean, one of them was the number 7, Kane Koteka. He's a local lad. He's all his rugby here. So to see somebody like him come through too and be part of that. But there's another young kid I know of. His name is Reese Anapu. He's part of their Future Force program and part of the academy program. I think he would be one to watch out for because he's come through that pathway that they've built, and he's just been selected in the. It's not good news for Samoa, but it's good news for him because he's been selected in the first training squad for the Australian under-20s. So, and he's a halfback, So when you got a world-class player like Capelli or that Argentinian number 9.
Yeah.
And he's just as good as Aaron Smith on his day, and behind a good forward pack, he can really. So they're involved in all that, So the guys like Risa Knuckle can just soak the information of a player like him. Why not? So I think that's the plus of having those international players, as you would know. It's nothing beats experience, eh? So if those young players are willing to take the information, and stoked for them. So, but I think he's one to watch for the future. That is for this comp. I'm hoping for some good things from Henry. To be honest. And that's the thing with a few of the PI boys. A lot of them, all of them, quite a few of them are on the fringe. But I know Henry is probably a starter in the Force team.
Oh yeah. It'll be interesting to see as we progress during the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Just to close off, what are some of your predictions for the Australian Cup?
Man, to be honest with you, I'm liking the way the Reds are playing.
Yeah.
The Reds by far. I mean, like it's Brad Thorne. I mean, you know Brad Thorne as a player. I mean, we've watched him play, and he's a direct kind of player. But the way he's got the Reds playing, man, they're the team to watch. I mean, if any team can put some heat on the Kiwi teams, I think the Reds would be able to. They're just because I like what he's done as a coach. I like what he's done as a coach. He's actually went and just say he's going to build this team from scratch, and that's what he pretty much did, man. Like the young kids that are in there now, and he's given that confidence to those young kids to come through and say, hey, you either own it or you don't, and what they've gone out and proved what Brad Thorne's all about, and made, so they've gone and done the hard work and just said given the trust that it was given to them by their coach, what better way to repay them back, so Vunivalu, I think him and I don't know if you watched his first game, and it was only the last 10 minutes I think he got on, and from the kickoff where he almost scored that try on his first touch, and that's and even the Aussie commentator, you heard the Aussie commentators the way they're far out, just buzzing out, but that just shows how hungry he is, that shows the hunger, that's the type of player that you need in a team. You chase all the way until you put the heat on that player. That's Him and Dangunu together. The other one is I like that Jordan Pataya, but I think he's still got a lot to learn, as a player, because just the basics of keeping the ball when he's going into contact, because he's always trying to look for the big play. And I think he could be a dangerous player, like he is. He's a very dangerous player. He just needs to trust and be patient, and I can guarantee you, the more time he spends with Dave Rennie, and that's where I think Dave Rennie getting this team and where they are now, and the young players coming through, it's going to be a different Wallaby team in the next 2 or 3 years. I'd say they'll be more competitive than what they were last year and the years gone by. I don't know. I've just seen, as you've seen what Rennie can do with the likes of the Chiefs. How he turned them around from 10 years of not making finals, and then his first 2 years it's a back-to-back. That's the quality of a coach. It's not because of the players, but just the culture that he's built through there. And I think I was lucky. Well, you would have been lucky, lucky the first hand to have some inside information from Mahonry, about how Dave Rennie was as a coach, and the inside information to know how he builds the teams. You can't buy that stuff, to be honest. So I think I'm expecting big things from the Reds. I think it'll be a Reds Brumbies final. The Waratahs have already written themselves out,
Yeah.
and the Force are just coming in. You know, the Force are just coming back into the comp, and hopefully when they play the Rebels, to them now it's all about being consistent. You know, and I think they could have won a bit by more, really, but they've only got themselves to blame. Me. Okay, Uzo.
All right, man.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Yeah, you too, man. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.